birth of the Olmecs. More than 3,000 years ago, long before the Great Pyramids of the Maya, long before the mighty Aztec Empire, a different people flourished in the tropical lowlands of southern Mexico. Craftsmen shaped tools from obsidian and polished green jade into shimmering ornaments prized across the region. At its height, San Lorenzo may have held 10,000 people, an extraordinary feat for a civilization with no iron, no wheels, and no beasts of burden. The sacred ballgame, the worship of maize and rain gods, the art of jade carving, even the alignment of temples with the stars. Everywhere we look, the Olmecs seem to have planted the seeds of what would blossom into the civilizations we know better. Olmec's legacy would carry forward to the Maya and Aztecs, who built vast ball courts of their own, echoing a tradition born in the Olmec heartland. But the Olmecs were not only priests and farmers, they were also extraordinary artisans and thinkers. Their art, made from jade, basalt, and clay, radiated both power and delicacy. Tiny jade figurines, polished to a glassy sheen, depicted humans in prayer or transformation. Masks carved with haunting symmetry have been found buried in caches, their purpose still uncertain. Were they worn by rulers, offered as gifts to the gods, or symbols of ancestors guarding the living? Beyond art, the Olmecs may also have been the first to experiment with writing in the Americas. A block of stone discovered in Veracruz, known as the Cascajal block, bears strange symbols carved into its surface. Some scholars believe this to be the earliest form of writing in the New World, predating Mayan glyphs by centuries. Though its meaning remains undeciphered, it suggests that the Olmecs were not just sculptors and farmers, but intellectual pioneers, seeking to record thought in permanent form. They also possessed deep astronomical knowledge. Their ceremonial centers were not arranged randomly, many aligned with celestial events, suggesting that Olmec priests observed the heavens, charted the stars, and perhaps even laid the groundwork for the complex calendars later perfected by the Maya. In this way, the Olmecs were both rooted in the earth and reaching for the cosmos. Yet for all their brilliance, the Olmecs could not escape decline. Around 400 BCE, their great cities began to wither. San Lorenzo fell first, then Venta, its monumental pyramid, abandoned to jungle and time. Scholars debate why this happened. Some point to environmental shifts, rivers changing course, soil losing fertility, floods disrupting farming. Others argue that internal conflict or invasion weakened them. Whatever the cause, the Olmecs did not vanish entirely. Their descendants and neighbors carried fragments of their culture forward. But their great centers fell silent, their colossal monuments left to crumble. It is a sobering reminder that even civilizations that seem eternal can be undone by forces beyond their control. And yet, the mystery of the Olmecs does not end with their disappearance. In some ways, it only deepens. For centuries, questions have lingered. Where did they come from? How did they achieve such feats without the wheel, metal, or draft animals? Did they truly exist in isolation, or were they connected to distant peoples across the seas? Alternative theories abound. Some point to similarities between Olmec stonework and African art, suggesting contact between continents thousands of years before Columbus. Others propose even more radical ideas, that the Olmecs were influenced by survivors of Atlantis, or that their knowledge was passed down by beings from the stars, ancient astronauts whose guidance echoes in the myths of gods descending from the heavens. Mainstream scholars dismiss these claims, but their popularity reflects just how enigmatic the Olmecs remain. The colossal heads, the were-jaguar motifs, the Cascajal inscriptions, all seem to whisper that the Olmecs knew something we do not. And in the silence of unanswered questions, mystery thrives. Still, even without resorting to speculation, the Olmec legacy is undeniable. Their cultural DNA flowed into the veins of every civilization that followed in Mesoamerica. The Maya inherited their astronomical and calendrical practices, building them into one of the most sophisticated timekeeping systems in history. The Aztecs carried forward their gods, reshaping the maize and rain deities into new forms. Even the very idea of sacred rulership, of kings who embodied divine will, may trace its roots to Olmec thought. Without the Olmecs, the great empires of Central America might never have taken shape in the same way. And yet, for centuries after their decline, the Olmecs were forgotten, their achievements buried beneath jungle and soil. It was not until the 19th century that explorers stumbled upon their colossal heads and realized that something extraordinary had once existed here. Imagine the astonishment of the first modern archaeologists who unearthed a massive stone face staring up from the earth, a ghost of a civilization no one remembered. Today, the Olmecs remain a riddle. Their monuments stand in museums and parks, silent but commanding. They are proof of human creativity, of endurance, of ambition, and they are also reminders of how fragile memory can be. A civilization that once defined an age was reduced to obscurity, known only through fragments. Yet in those fragments we find wonder, we find inspiration, and we find a connection to people who lived and dreamed 3 millennia ago. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the Olmecs is this: that history is never fixed, never complete. It is a tapestry woven from memory and mystery, always waiting for new threads to be discovered. The Olmecs carved their story in stone, but it is up to us to listen, to interpret, and to keep their legacy alive. Because in the end, the colossal heads do not just represent rulers of the past, they represent humanity, as eternal desire to be remembered. And so, as we look back at this forgotten mother civilization, we are reminded that the past is never truly gone. It lives in stone, in soil, in the myths that endure. The Olmecs may have vanished, but their shadows stretch across time, whispering to us still. Who they were, how they achieved their wonders, and why they disappeared may remain uncertain. But one truth is undeniable. They were here, they mattered, and they shaped the course of history. So when you next see the stern face of an Olmec head staring back at you, remember, you are not just looking at a stone. You are looking into the eyes of a people who, long before history was written, built the first civilization of the Americas. Their story is not finished, because as long as we ask questions, as long as we seek to understand, the Olmecs will never be forgotten. And that brings us to the end of today's journey into the mysterious world of the Olmecs, the forgotten mother civilization of the Americas. Their colossal stone heads, their myths of jaguars and gods, and their pioneering influence remind us that the past still has secrets to share with those who listen. If you've enjoyed exploring this lost world with us, don't let the journey stop here. There are countless more ancient civilizations, hidden histories, and forgotten stories waiting to be rediscovered. So make sure to subscribe to Forgotten Civilizations and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into the mysteries of the ancient world. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, every stone, every ruin, every legend holds a story worth telling. Thank you for watching.